Dance Arts of Columbia provides fitness fun for everyone from 3 years old to adult. Dance Arts is a good environment where the friendly staff makes you feel comfortable. Dance Arts feels that dance is an art form that you can experience firsthand by learning tap, jazz, modern, musical theater, lyrical, and ballet. Dance Arts urges you to enjoy a sense of accomplishment while getting fit and having fun. For class information, call 875-1569. Dance Arts of Columbia, serving Columbia since 1979.
Good morning and welcome to Radio Friends on Monday, November 16th. I've got my friend Larry Brown sitting right next to me today. Larry Brown, stories, song, but today it's going to be a story, isn't it?
It's a story.
Now next week is Thanksgiving.
Well, I'm sort of getting ready for that. I'm getting the attitude of gratitude going here.
Okay, and this is a personal story.
It's a personal story.
Does it have a name?
Let's call it Thanks,
okay,
Coach.
So
thanks, Coach.
Here is Larry Brown with a thank you story. Larry?
I still see him. I was just 10 yards behind him. I could hear his feet. I could smell his sweat. I was catching up. And for the last quarter of a mile, I was gaining and I was gaining. And for at least that moment, this noise of the crowd disappeared. It was just me and catching him. And I was going to catch him before he hit the finish line. Well, that was about 50 years ago. And I have to tell you what took me to that moment. Now, growing up in rural America as a young man, I, like the other young men my age, all had to have a sport in which we could excel in. And let me tell you, most of my childhood and adolescence was a disaster. I mean, I tried baseball, and I got assigned to play left out. You know, and I get up to bat, they'd say, "Don't swing at anything, Larry." And I had a baseball glove, been run over by a truck, you know, so couldn't catch anything anyway. So baseball was a summer sport not run by the schools, but when school was in session, well, I tried basketball. In fact, I went out for Pee-wees, junior high, and senior high. I accumulated about 8 years of basketball, which added up to about 3 minutes total playtime over 8 years. And my senior year in high school, I said, I'm not going to sit on the bench as a senior. So I didn't go out. I went out for boys PE instead, and we got to do some other things, run around the gym, you know, bowling. But senior year football, I had played football. And even though I'd been injured as a sophomore, I'd come back and played football. But here was my senior year. I went out for football. I wasn't very big, 140 pounds. And I was third string defensive guard, which meant I probably would never play. And the second game of the season that fall, injuries took out the first and second, and I was in. And one of those first plays I was in the game, we were on defense, and the quarterback of the opposing team just took off running down the field. And I thought, oh, I needed to catch him. So I ran nearly the entire length of the field, caught him and tackled him before he got to the goal line. When I got back, the coach says, well, there's somebody that wants to play football. And I was in. And in fact, I got to be defensive and offensive guard, and the coach even designed special plays for me since I was smaller. A pulling guard, I would sort of, on offense, I would back up a step and then go down the line and catch people, you know, that way. And as a defensive player, I could get through and catch the quarterback. Well, I did. Well, it was the coach. It was the coach. We'd gotten a new coach my senior year who took each one of us seriously and worked with our talent and encouraging us. Well, as I said, I didn't go out for basketball that year. And in small town, you only have so many choices, you know, football, basketball, and then track. Well, I could run, but I'd already had disasters. I couldn't do hurdles. I could run pretty fast, but I couldn't sprint. I couldn't get fast enough soon enough. I didn't have enough muscles, you know, to throw the discus and the shot put, but I could run a long distance pretty well. And I remember I said, I'll go out for track. This is my last high school sport possibility. I'll do it. And that coach, Coach Harson, he had improved the track. He'd gotten it graded and measured and a little bit of hard surfacing on it. And he was devising little plans for each of us individual players. And one day he heard me running around the track and he pulled me over and says, Larry, where'd you get those shoes? I said, well, I don't know. I couldn't afford new shoes. We bought these used. He said, we need to get you into some real shoes. And he got me some real track shoes with cleats. And he designed a program for me. And lo and behold, every track meet I went to, I got a little faster at the mile, a little faster. I started winning and placing. And by the end of the season, he picked the 4 best track and field people to go to district tournament. It was the pole vaulter, the discus, the quarter mile, and me, the miler. And then together we had a mile relay team. And we went to district. And of course, mile was always later. We didn't do very well in the relay, but our discus player won, our pole vaulter won, our quarter miler came close to placing, and then it was me in the mile. And I remember running, it was 50 years ago, and I remember it to this day. The coach was standing there giving me my time, and I was getting faster, and there we were as I started the story. I was catching up. Now, the first 3 places went to state, and I was in 4th position. And I had to catch that guy, and I ran as fast as I could, and as I said, I was right behind him, and then we crossed the line, and I got 4th. So I didn't get to go to state tournament. But the coach walked up to me and said, "Larry, you just broke not only your record, you just broke the high school record." Mm-hmm. I had run it in 4 minutes and 50 seconds. And that was my last sport event of high school. And my name got to go up on the big plaque, in the high school for breaking the school record. Now, 50 years ago, in one sense, who cares what happened to high school sports when you're an old man? Except the enduring memory of that and the coach who took time to help me, as he did others, do their best. Yes, it was competition, but it was personal straining. To this day, I still find myself in those moments of struggle, competition, things I need to get done, remembering that event and saying to myself, "Thanks, Coach."
That's nice, Larry. That's nice. And it has a good moral, too. To anybody listening, if you could encourage and help someone along the way, you never know. It's like a ripple in the water. One ripple touches another.
I went back and talked to another high school teacher some years ago, and he was saying, the coaches that you had in those early years were they were hard on you guys until Coach Harson came along. And not that he wasn't demanding, but his way of disciplining was also encouraging. Mm-hmm. And he stayed on in that community for a lifetime, being the football and track coach. Again, it's one of those things that is character building, and I depend upon that memory of someone who took time with me.
And it gets you through. Tough spots even today.
Of course.
Right. Thanksgiving is next week. That's a good thank you story.
Well, I hope so.
If you want to hear more of Larry's stories, how can they get them?
Well, they can go to my website, and you'll see what's available. I have a DVD and some CDs, and I've had some stories published in some anthologies as well. Or email me at brownstory@hotmail.com.
Got it. Okay, and as I said, next week is Thanksgiving, and we are very thankful for one thing. Today was your 51st appearance on Radio Friends. I can't believe it.
I can't either.
Yeah.
Well, how many years have you been doing this?
Well, 6 years. And when you go back on the time that you appeared on Pepper and Friends, we've been together a long time. Storytelling. We're out of time for today. Tomorrow, MU Healthcare and the MU Choral Union. Have yourself a nice morning. If you're going to be out, drop me an email, pepperp@missouri.edu. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.